Hello, and welcome to the Broke PhD podcast. I'm your host, Dr. G. On this episode of Broke PhD podcast, I have my very first guest on the show, future Dr. Shelika Joshi. I am so excited to share my conversation that I had with future Dr. Shelika. And this episode will be part one of 3 parts. So please check out part 2 and part 3 later. On this episode, and in this first part of our conversation, future Dr. Shalika shares about her background and her journey of currently going through a PhD program. Additionally, our conversation focused on the topics of work life balance, self care, and prioritization of mental health and well being. Shalika, if you just want to start off with sharing a little bit about your background so that the listeners can get kind of more context of who you are.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Shelika, of course, and right now I'm doing my PhD in clinical health psychology online while I'm working full time, which some days I don't know how I manage it, but I've been doing it for almost like 2 years now. And, you really need those good productivity tools to help with that. Honestly. Yeah, so basically, like a bit about myself is basically I'm South Asian. My parents are immigrants from India, and then they came to Canada, and then me and my brother were born here. And I've just been so passionate about mental health at a young age. I struggled with anxiety at a young age, but didn't know it was anxiety till I got to high school and I did my grade 12 exams. And I kind of realized, like, with my anxiety and everything, that, I really wanted to help people. So I went into psychology at a college in Calgary. And then from there, I did a master's in counseling psychology. And yeah, basically, my professor was like, telling me I'd be really good at research and just that I'm so passionate about like working one-on-one with clients because I'm a counselor myself. But I also thought research is just so important when it comes to providing like the services that we need as, psychologists or frontline workers. So yeah, that's why I kind of went into immigrant and refugee mental health and really looking at the trends of that
Mhm.
here in Canada and try to build a pre-assessment tool with really easy questions that can be translated into many different languages, especially for people that have really low English. So that's kind of like the goal. So I'm kind of in like data collection focus group and gonna start writing my dissertation. I just finished my abstract. So yeah, I'm in the starting point, which is a little bit, this is the uncertainty part.
Yeah. The
That's what
unknown
my
area.
supervisor said. My supervisor's like, "Oh, the courses is not the PhD. It's like the uncertainty of your dissertation."
Mm.
And it's been like a month that I've been in this first month I've been in this process, and honestly, it's been more difficult than doing the course-based stuff. So, I mean, I'm trying to take it day by day.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's just a little bit about myself. I'm really bubbly, I'm really sociable. I like to make people feel comfortable. I'm really like an open book and I like to talk and learn about different things. Like I'm not an expert at everything and I know
Mm.
that, but I'm willing to learn. And if I'm like not well versed in something, I can learn from people and other type of tools. So, yeah,
I
that's
love that. I love it. Just constantly expanding your mind. I think that's very important. So I love that.
in this day and age and in general, I feel like there's just so many things that as a person, like when people say, "Oh, you have a PhD and you're an expert," I was like, well, I'm definitely know a lot about the field I researched in, but like,
Mhm.
of course, I see people doing PhDs in like different areas, and I'm
Mm.
like, I don't know anything about that, but it's so cool. I was like looking at a documentary about people like doing their PhDs about dolphins
Mhm.
and how they
Oh.
communicate and all this cool stuff. And I mean, I'm fascinated by the ocean, but like, learning about dolphins and just how they communicate and just all that cool stuff. I'm like, that's actually really cool.
Mhm.
So, there's just so many things that, you can do in a PhD. And also,
Mm.
like, it takes a lot of work, right? So,
Yeah.
and dedication.
Yeah, and a lot of effort and
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely know that as well. But like, there's also like the before the PhD, during the PhD,
Mhm.
and after, right?
Yeah,
So
like the different phases of things. So, which is so
yeah.
true that I don't think a lot of people Well, they recognize it because obviously people who's doing educational programs, they know it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort, but being in it, being in the trenches, like, when you
I mean,
start to
I
think
don't have
about
these
all the
under eye
stuff,
bags for no reason.
right?
I'm like, I'm trying to get rid of them. But, like, even though I get a lot of sleep and I do a
Mhm.
lot of things, but I also have to take time out for myself. Like, I
Mm,
do that in the weekends mostly because I know that if I don't take time out for myself, I'm probably going to get sick or crash or something. And that, thank God, hasn't happened since the beginning of the year and not really planning on that. But
mm,
I feel like I'm in such a flexible program that like
mm,
even if I want to take a month off, like I can take a month off, right? And that's what I'm trying to do like sometime this year is just take a month off and just
mm,
maybe I need a fresh mind to go back and write my other chapters. And this is something I post on my Instagram too, but it's not
mm,
like just about finishing it quickly. It's about the process, right?
mhm,
So usually my program's supposed to be done like if you're part-time like 6 to 8 years, full-time 4 to 5. But
mhm,
honestly, I'm not really counting. I used to, but I feel like that just causes more stress. And it's better to get it done when you're mentally well
mm.
than not.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. No, I love that, and I wish I took on your mindset going through my program. That's so important that you pace yourself because you don't have to finish it all at, like, really quickly and be done. Like, you can take the time that works for you, and I think that's amazing that you are planning to do that, and to be able to take a break in between too, even just a month of just, like, resetting and recharging, that's amazing too. I never even thought of that. Like, I know, like, now that I'm done, I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess, you could do that."
And it depends like where you are in life, right?
Mhm,
Like I know people take PhDs in different parts in their life. Some people in their
mm,
20s, they have 30s, like, kids.
mhm,
Most of the people in my program, they have kids. Lots of people have different things going on in their life. Like I've
mhm,
met people who took 2 years off because they had kids or,
mhm,
they had to do something for work. And, having a job is important nowadays because
mhm,
they have to provide for their family, right?
yeah.
So everyone has their own like lifestyle and different kind of circumstances. So, yeah, and I mean here in Canada, like I don't really know because my university is in America, but I don't know many universities at all that do part-time PhD programs here in
Mhm,
Canada. Like mostly it's like 4 year full-time intensive, and then you can't work the same time, unfortunately, but
mhm.
they give you a stipend of how much you can spend for yourself,
Yeah,
which is not usually enough, right?
yeah.
Um, and then funding and all that stuff added on with that. So it's a little like I mean every country's different with their PhD programs, but
Mhm,
yeah, I think like for me, I wanted to do a PhD just because I'm passionate about what I do,
mhm,
and like lots of people want to do a postdoc after, some people don't, some
mhm,
people do other things. I mean, for me personally, I haven't thought about doing a postdoc after because I have a career outside of my PhD. And I mean, I
mhm.
am, a counselor. So I like what I do. But yeah, like that's the main question I get. Like, you're going to do a postdoc? I was like, I don't know. Good question.
And that's like while you're in it, like you never know which path you're gonna take. Like, because that's something that's hard also to answer
Yeah.
while you're going through a program. And I like give you so much like credit. And like I think that's amazing that a lot of people are also in your shoes too, where they're already in a career and they're doing a PhD because they just want to expand their knowledge or to have an opportunity, to engage in research in a specific niche that they want to explore further. And so I think that's amazing. And then, there's the flip side where some people are doing a PhD because it's like the next step and they are still trying to figure out what they want to do and what they want to explore. And, if they don't figure it out in their program, then yeah, they might go on and do a postdoc and continue to do that. And, either path is great. And so, but
Yeah.
there is those times where you're like, yeah, I can't give you that answer right now because like, cool, like, the
Yeah.
line is still like a little bit ways away and I'm still trying to navigate the present. So like
Exactly. Like, I mean, I still kind of am a person who thinks about what am I going to do 5 years from now?
uh-huh.
But honestly, it's kind of like, oh, I kind of know maybe what I'm doing next year or the year
Yes.
after. And I kind of maybe have an idea of what I do, but like,
Mhm.
I don't want to like fully focus on the uncertainty of
Yeah.
everything and really focus on like the now and everything like that, right? So
Yeah.
it's I'm just
That can
like,
also
yeah,
be
it's a
very overwhelming. And like, especially if you're trying to like prevent yourself from feeling burnout now, like to be like, okay, well, if I think about present and I think about, 2 years from now and 5 years from now and 4 years from now, like that can be very overwhelming. And so chunking
Mhm.
it up and being like, okay, what is my year goal? What can I do, to meet that year goal? And then maybe if I have, those steps in place, then I can think about what's in 2 years. And life is always constantly changing and evolving, and individuals are constantly changing and evolving, that like what you set out to do next year may not be the same by the end of the
Yeah, exactly.
year.
Like I have a goal that hopefully I can finish 2 chapters before Christmas.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, I am writing. I've been writing for a little bit the last month or so too, and I'm like, I'm pretty much like in my focus groups and
Hmm.
I'm kind of in that data collection era, I guess you could say. So I'm hoping I can get 2 chapters done by the end of the year, but I mean, I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't,
Yeah.
right? Because, anything can get thrown at me. You can't sometimes, like, I feel like a lot of people in PhD programs are like
Mhm.
perfectionists.
Yes.
I mean, I am too.
What?
Lots of them, a lot of them, I mean, all of them, like really great with deadlines. Like I used to be such a procrastinator. Like I still am in lots of parts of my life. Academically, maybe work-wise, I'm not, but outside of that, maybe not so much. But when it comes to school, yeah, like I am pretty much like Google Calendar, like I have
Mhm.
everything set out there for work, for school, like any type of commitments that I have, so I don't miss out on things even in my personal life, right?
Mhm.
So I tried to like balance everything the best that I can. And I think one of the biggest things like I've been trying to do is like walk, go
Okay.
outside and walk at least every three times a week, maybe like over
Mhm.
10,000 steps, like just, to balance myself out and not think about my dissertation and,
Mhm.
other things like that. But yeah, and I think having a good support system really helps. Like, I
Mhm.
have a very supportive family. Never heard my family say anything otherwise.
Mhm.
They know that it's takes a lot of mental power to do a doctorate degree, right?
Yeah. Well, that concludes this episode. But again, be sure to check out the other two parts of the conversation I had with future Dr. Shelika. And just as I'm having a conversation and sharing the experience of future Dr. Shelika, I ask you all to go out there and find your own support systems and have conversations with your peers so that you can collectively navigate your programs rather than feeling like you're braving storms on your own. If you are interested in hearing more episodes and learning more about Broke PhD Podcast, then please check out the website brokephdpodcast.shop to continue to follow along. I'm also going to put a plug out there for my shop, so please, please, please go check out my shop with the website being brokephdpodcast.shop, and to also share it with anyone and everyone you know. I am excited to share my art and to share my creativity with the world, and I hope it brings you all as much joy as it brought me in creating it. Wherever you are in your own journey, I'm wishing you all the best, and remember, you got this. Thank you again for listening, and I'm your host, Dr. G, and I hope you have a wonderful day.